Hello and welcome everyone. I am Dr. Asawari Sawant, Senior Sub-Editor at Elets Technomedia, that is India's leading and largest B2B multimedia platform. And on behalf of Elets Technomedia and the Banking and Finance Post magazine, I extend a very warm welcome to all of you for our newest series, the Elets Fintech Dialogues, which is in collaboration with the Department of Electronics, IT, Biotechnology and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka. This exclusive series is an integral part of the World Fintech Summit, which is a 2-day premier event by Elets Technomedia that brings together the global fintech and BFSI community, from policymakers and industry leaders to innovators and key stakeholders. The summit fosters meaningful collaborations aimed at driving innovation and growth in financial services worldwide. We are honored to have the Department of Electronics, IT, Biotechnology, and Science and Technology, Government of Karnataka as our host state partner, alongside Karnataka's Digital Economy Mission as our strategic partner for the World Fintech Summit. The Banking and Finance Post is Asia's premier B2B magazine that is dedicated to the BFSI sector and has been shaping industry narratives for over a decade. The Elets Fintech Dialogues, this series celebrates trailblazing leaders and innovators whose fintech driven initiatives are transforming lives and industries. And today we are privileged to host an inspiring entrepreneur who has been instrumental in revolutionizing the BFSI industry in India. It is an absolute pleasure to welcome Ms. Anjali Desai, Vice President and Business Head of Zaggle. Ma'am, thank you so much for joining us. It is a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Absolutely. Likewise, it's my pleasure as well, and happy to kind of talk to you.
So, ma'am, for our audience who is also from the B2B fintech industry landscape, Anjali Desai is a seasoned business leader with over 27 years of experience in sales leadership, having held COO positions and being involved in entrepreneurship herself. So, she's the current vice president and business head of Zaggle. Ma'am, we
Yes.
are very curious to know from you, with your 27 plus years of experience across IT, software, sales, leadership, and operational delivery, how has your journey shaped your approach in leading Zaggle Zoyer in the fintech space? Over to you.
Absolutely. So I'll start by sharing with you a little bit about my background. I was an entrepreneur at the start of my career, and we used to offer GIS solutions, and this is almost about 25-30 years back, which was a very path-breaking service at that point in time. And then we ventured into a dot-com on the lines of India has got talent, and which was, of course, at that time was quite ahead of the time. By the time 2000 happened, we all know dot com happened, and we also there was a dot com burst, and we also busted. That's when my corporate journey started. I was initially leading digital transformation projects for clients in the US, Europe, some of these regions, and also then in India. Then I used to head the entire operations, which means it included product development, project implementations, customer support, customer success, and that's how my elevation to the COO. Of course, this was mainly in the area of expense and spend management. Uh, Post this, I got into sales, and since I love solving clients' problems and offering them solutions, I have been really enjoying initially a individual sales contributor role, and then the sales leadership role. So I've seen the full cycle of building a expense spend management solution almost 20 years back to growing businesses in that space. Now, Zaggle is at the forefront of innovation and at a very exciting cross section of SaaS and fintech. So, we launched our expense management solution about 5 years back, and the Zoyer solution a couple of years back. What we really saw was, that there was a gap in the market for this solution. There were SaaS companies who were only offering SaaS solutions and in this space, but a lot of things related to the payment, fintech, all of those were not there. Whereas fintech, of course, in India is doing all the disruption, in the Indian market, and that's the gap we realized that you need an integrated SaaS and a fintech solution And that's what we decided to kind of solve clients' problems. And the problems were in the area of people had very siloed financial systems, lot of regulatory challenges, long implementation cycles, most importantly, a lot of difficulty in integrating solutions, right? And all this used to result into higher processing cost, lot of leakages, vestiges. There could be unidentified frauds, higher spending, etc. And that's exactly what we are trying to change here.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing in depth about your journey as well as the different areas that Zaggle Zoyer is contributing to in the fintech ecosystem. Um, Moving on, we are also very curious to know more that with businesses seeking more efficient and more automated financial solutions, what are some of the unique innovations that Zaggle Zoyer is bringing to the market?
Absolutely. See, as I said, Zaggle is in the forefront, right, of innovation, and I will also add speed. So it's a combination of the two things, and that is the reason we've been able to have the leadership in the spend management in India. Now, UPI is an innovation from India to the world. In fact, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji always shows this off, right, to all the visiting world leaders. Now, what Zaggle has done is it has taken that framework and built a solution on top of that. So, our Brome platform uses UPI framework for making payments and facilitates employee reimbursements in petty cash. I will tell you that, the traditional methodology, companies that had multiple branches, stores, hospitals, clinics, any of that, they would typically give impress money to the petty cashier, which the petty cashier will withdraw the cash and then, he'll make the payments. Now, these payments could be the expenses at these stores or branches, like a flower wala and tea wala, and any other promotional events or some kind of repair and maintenance. Now, imagine the kind of chaos that will happen with these kind of cash payments, because anything which is cash, you have to kind of record for that. There is a lot of reconciliation involved. There could be leakages and vestiges. Now, that is what we really solved with the SaaS solution that sits on top of the UPI framework. I'll share with you a client story. Now, this is a very prominent hospital. They have about 25 plus hospitals in India. They specialize in the mom and the baby care, and they have roughly a lakh of rupees per month kind of expenses per hospital. Now, with Brome implementation, what they do is that they don't have to load money in any person's account. There is no hassle of cash withdrawals and hence the reconciliation. There is no hassle of KYC. Centrally, the finance team can load the money into the company pool account, and the petty cashiers can simply use Zaggle mobile app to make these UPI payments. Now, in this SaaS solution that we have built, they can configure limits for each hospital, for each category of expenses, so that there are financial controls already built in. Now, imagine that even if there is an attrition of people, and which, by the way, in some of these verticals that I spoke about, whether it is hospitals or whether it is retail companies, the attrition is very high. Now, with our solution, there is no hassle of, okay, how do I now recover the advance given to each person? You have to simply make the user inactive and that's it. So it becomes very, very simple for the finance team to kind of go ahead and manage this whole operation. Now, they have been using this application for a couple of months, and it has significantly reduced their cost of processing and the reconciliation. It has reduced their leakages and vestiges. In fact, their CFO was sharing with us that his estimation is that it will reduce overall their spend also by about 6 to 8%.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing with us. So, when we talk about subsectors which include embedded finance, AI-driven financial solutions, and B2B digital payments, sector, in these subsectors, Zaggle has positioned itself in the leader in this space. So, we would like to know from you, how the journey has been up till here. What kind of challenges you have faced on a majority scale, so that not just the B2B entrepreneurs that are watching the show, but also the budding entrepreneurs who are looking up to you for your journey and for your experiences into the sector also get informed. So over to you.
Yeah, I think there are a couple of questions, that you've asked me, and I'll try to kind of break those into specific questions and try to answer them. Right. See, what happens is that there is of course embedded finance, there are AI driven financial solutions, P2P digital payments, and all this is evolving in India, right? So the point is that how can Zaggle Zoyer really position itself, right, to lead in this space? Um, Now we all know that the financial ecosystem is having a remarkable transformation. There is a rapid digital adoption. There is regulatory support, and there is a very high demand for integrated financial solutions. Right. Now, when we talk about embedded finance, AI-driven tools, or P2P digital payments, I feel that these are no longer trends, right? They are becoming really essential for a business growth. If you see just the embedded finance, it is expected to grow at a 30% CAGR, right, over the next 5 years. And businesses are embedding, this into the financial services. For example, logistic companies, use embedded payment gateways for instant settlements, or e-commerce platforms offer embedded credit for their sellers. Now, what we are trying to do is that we are also, trying to enable this using the API, kind of interface and into the expense management, corporate payments for our clients. Similarly, if I have to talk about the AI driven solutions, again, it is predicted that the AI itself will contribute to a large extent, almost, I mean, the numbers are like 900 billion plus to the Indian economy. And of course, the financial services will be one of the largest beneficiary of this. Now, what we are doing is that, with Zaggle Zoyer, we are leveraging AI for fraud detection, for predictive analytics, real-time financial insights. We are, trying to learn. I mean, the AI algorithm is trying to learn continuously based on the transaction patterns, and, trying to identify what could be the anomalies that we go unnoticed otherwise in the traditional systems. Similarly, when we talk about UPI, I think we already spoke that how UPI has transformed the whole B2C. I mean, for the end customer, how it is really transforming lives. Now, with UPI in B2B and the growth really expected to surge, with UPI for SMEs, with cross-border transactions, we are, well positioned to support enterprises in making these faster and secure payments, right? So yes, I think by embedding, by combining the embedded finance, AI powered analytics, and seamless digital payments, we can ensure that our clients stay ahead of the curve in this very, very rapidly evolving market. So that's what I would say, as the answer to your question about how we are leveraging some of these. Now, coming to what we see as some of the challenges in growing this business, the way we see it is that people do have current systems, right, which they have been using, and there may be a resistance to kind of go ahead and change that. Similarly, companies will have their existing ERP system. Now, how do we essentially give them a solution that can, work as a bolt-on onto the ERPs? How can we give them a system solution which their different departments, geographies, all of those can use it? And I think most importantly, how can this be so simple, easy to use for them, right? And can go ahead and save really a lot of expenses for them. I will share with you one story of our client, and this is in fact a large retail chain. Okay, they have almost 500 plus stores. Now they were using another digital platform for making their utility bill payments. Uh, Now imagine that this platform was not integrated with their ERP system. It was not integrated with NPCI's Bharat Connect, right? Because this is an initiative by NPCI where they collate all the utility bills across all the billers in India. This system was where the payment was again not integrated and it was not happening through the platform. So you can imagine the kind of overhead that the finance or the admin team will have by working with such siloed systems. So what they need to do is that they will need to use, whatever platform they were using to at least see what are the kind of bills that are there, get the approvals. For payments, they would have to use a ERP. They would need to, post the accounting entries into an ERP. So yeah, I think all this, created a lot of overhead for the finance team, and that's where Zaggle Zoyer solution really was very, very useful for them, because they had almost 5 6 categories of utilities like electricity, telephone, broadband, water charges, etc. And each store in charge would actually collate the bills and send it to the central team, who would do all the due diligence, and then they will go ahead and, as I said, make the payment from the ERP. Now imagine that in this whole process, even if one bill is not kind of there in the visibility of the finance team and it's not paid on time, and if there is a discontinuation of any of these services, I mean, imagine electricity gets discontinued, the kind of business loss that they will have will be huge, right? So I think that is the potential of our solution, the way that can really help them. Similarly, when I said that there is a overhead which, because of our system, really came down significantly. In fact, some of the numbers that we heard from them is in the range of about 60 to 80%. Their cost of processing came down because it was all in one system, integrated right from getting the biller information to getting the approvals to the payments to getting integrated with the ERP system. Everything was seamlessly happening in one system, and that's what our BROM, we call it a BROM solution, which is essentially branch recurring operational monthly expenses, and consists of utility, rent, and petty cash. So yeah, I think I've tried to kind of answer some of these couple of questions that you had.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing, and all the while that you have shared the how the systems is improving the businesses. It's not only saving time, but it also is making the entire process very much error proof. So when technology takes over, when things are automated and through the system software are being done, there are no scopes of error. So there's no scope of missing out on a certain bill and losses in the business. Nothing like that. Everything is covered. So amazing work that you guys are doing at the organization. But we are very much talking about these days that whenever there is an involvement in the fintech space or in BFSI industry as a whole, and technology together, so there are always concerns of data privacy, data security, and fraud prevention. which is big. And now with the DPDP Act also in place, people are more wanting to know that how the businesses are adopting data security, data privacy, and fraud prevention strategies in their businesses. So we're curious as to what your organization is also doing to ensure secure and compliant financial transactions for its clients.
Absolutely. I think, anything to do with wherever payments are involved, right? The compliance and these aspects, in fact, become much more important than, in any other scenario, right? Right, like you rightly said, the data security in today's financial ecosystem is very, very important. And what is happening is, with the digital transactions growing, there are also cyber attacks, data breaches, financial frauds. We also keep hearing, right? In our personal lives also, I think all this has become a reality, and that's happening. So what we've done is, in Zaggle Zoyer, and okay, but even before coming to Zaggle Zoyer, I want to call out that, see, we are Zaggle is a fintech, right? And we work with almost 15 plus banks. Now, the banks will of course have a expectation that, we are compliant to all the uh, mandatory things, the regulatory aspects we've taken care of. So I think in terms of, the Zaggle's kind of history, I think that has been a biggest lever that we have, because we right from the beginning focused on the compliance and the regulatory aspect. And the same thing we are trying to take it ahead with Zaggle Zoyer as well, where the idea is, how can we build multi-layered security framework? How can, as I said, while AI can help the finance teams take care of some of the fraud detection and anomalies and those kind of things, AI can also help in terms of the some of these aspects, right? Which is payment related, any frauds or any anomalies that can happen. We can look at predictive capability, because that can reduce the fraud risks. All of that. Also, there is a PCI DSS framework, right? And our platform complies to that. We In terms of the transactions, we have end-to-end encryption, we have multi-factor authentication. So all of this is, to ensure that we prevent unauthorized access. Now, because we are as I said, because we are in the fintech world, and the regulatory compliance is a key. There are bodies like RBI, and we have always gone ahead and done a lot of work in that area. At the same time, from a SaaS solution perspective, what we're trying to do is trying to take care of the role-based access controls, data masking technologies, minimize the data exposure, and ensure that the sensitive information is accessible only to authorized personnel. So yes, I think with all of this, we are taking care of the data protection, compliance, regulatory things, in a holistic way.
That is great to know, and of course, it is great for the partners that are getting involved with Zaggle Zoyer as well. We come down to the very end of our discussion. We have two more questions for you before we let you go. One being, which is with your wide experience in leading cross-functional teams and scaling businesses, what advice would you give to our audience, which is primarily segregated into three sectors that we have seen? One being the government participation, the government leaders, the B2B finance, government organizations and leaders that take part in our programs and watch our shows. Two being the fintech entrepreneurs themselves, the fintech businesses that are there, your fellow businesses. And three being the budding entrepreneurs, the people that are looking up to these series for gaining valuable insights into the market and the industry. So if you could share or voice out certain things to these three sectors, what would those be?
Sure. See, I feel that entrepreneurs are anyway the smart people, right? And they anyway, I think, figure out what is required for a business to grow. Yes, I understand that if they also hear the success or the failure stories of others, it gives a head start. So I'm going to be sharing with you, instead of it being like an advice, I'll share with you what we have been trying to do, right? I think it is for a success, you need a combination of the market understanding, innovation, adaptability, all of that, right? And the most important thing in my experience is that can we solve the real world problems, right? Now technology is a ever evolving thing, and there will be always newer things that are going to come. But if we can focus mainly on what are the pain points of a business and how can the technology really address those rather than the other way around, that here is the technology, now let's see what do we build out of that. I think it's in my experience the best way to kind of do that. See, one thing that really helps really understand the real world problems is talking to your stakeholders, right? And really understanding what are their day to day challenges. Now, again, in my last many years of experience, and especially in the expense and spend management world, what I've seen is that while the advancement of the technology is giving people newer possibilities and things and all of that, but the problems of the business, and I'm talking specifically in the area of spend management and the SaaS solutions, continues to be that people have solutions which are not easy to use. People have solutions which are not very well integratable, or or they can talk to other systems. People have still challenges that the implementation takes a very long time, and it is also very painful, if I can use that word, right? I think one has to look at a solution which is also solving, these problems when you're trying to kind of see leverage the modern technology and give them things which are what I'll call it plus plus. So yeah, that is one. Second is in a fintech, and where Zaggle is a SaaS fintech, like I told you. I think we have, taken the approach of compliance first, right, as a strategy. Because I think what happens is, if you are compliant on all of those aspects, you can, purely focus on the business and growing the business and all of that. And these things, are kind of done and dusted. So that, to me, when I look at Zaggle's success, I think has significantly helped us really bring in the speed of the growth that we have been able to do, right? Um, the third thing, what I feel is that when you're building something, is it built for scale and flexibility, right? Now, scale is all what we understand, right? That there will be more users, more people. I mean, when probably UPI was launched, I'm not sure NPCI knew the kind of extent of this usage that will be there, right? Thinking upfront definitely helps that you design for that kind of a scale. Similarly, the flexibility. So I mentioned about integration continues to be a challenge, right? So the API first architecture, having modular product design, all of this becomes also very very important. And while you're doing that, data continues to be the biggest asset, and the AI and the machine learning and all of this can give a lot of actionable insights to customers, right? So whether it is predicting cash flows, detecting fraud, optimizing spend, data driven decision making, all of this sets your solution apart from others. And I think, the last point, if I have to call out, is a leader is as good as her team, right? So you need to have a great team and a diverse team uh, that is there to kind of back up and actually ensure that the execution is flawless. One other thing about fintech is it involves very cross-functional fields, right? It requires a lot of collaboration because there is technology, there is finance, there's operations, there's compliance, a lot of these things. So what becomes very important is you have a great team, you have excellent collaboration within this team, and yes, because fintech world is also moving very fast. There are of course always challenges because those are inevitable. So how do you stay focused on what you want to do, what is your vision, and really try to navigate the whole team towards what you're trying to do. And then yes, you will have some challenges. You should be ready to kind of take care of that. So yes, even here at Zaggle Zoyer, we've tried to kind of build a platform that can evolve with clients' needs. That is the mindset that is really helping us. And remember that opportunities in the fintech space are limitless, and it's an exciting time to be driving innovation in this space.
Definitely, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing your thoughts and views with our audience. But before we let you go, we have a very last question for you, which is, we have this tradition at Elets Fintech Dialogues that whoever, leader is with us, we ask them to share with us one piece of information exclusively for Fintech Dialogue audience that hasn't been revealed on any other platform yet. So, something like a future plan for your organization in terms of any innovation or market expansion, or any upcoming project or partnership or milestone that you're looking forward to, but exclusively for our audience, which hasn't been revealed on any other platform yet.
Sure. See, we being a public listed company, uh, I think we do share from time to time updates about what is happening on the business side, right? But I will tell you, some insights into what is really happening on the Zaggle Zoyer business. See, in India, we are already getting huge traction, right? We're sitting here at March end, and some of our enterprise sales guys are even closing, three contracts in a day. So that's the kind of huge traction we're getting. I think that's also a testimony of the product market fit. Now the game is going to be that how do we go wider, how do we go deeper in terms of the market expansion. Now Zaggle has a very large distribution network, right? And that's why I feel very confident that we'll be able to scale this business exponentially. We want to really create dominance for our Brome solution to start with. Okay. And what we're focusing mainly over there, apart from everything else that I spoke about, is how can we have quick implementation? So instead of talking about months or weeks, how can we talk about, few days of quick, implementation? Because that can give the customer a quick kind of value to for their money. Also, how can, as I earlier spoke about, that the integrations, how they can be easy, pain free, right? This is going to be, of course, the focus. So yes, the Broom is the solution that is kind of going to go, as I said, deeper. At the same time, with embedded finance and AI enabled fraud detection, we're very confident that we will be able to disrupt the current P2P market as well, which is the procure to pay market. And the idea is once we are able to create the dominance in the Indian market, I think, international expansion is something that opens doors for us. And probably by the time we do the next podcast, you will be able to hear more updates about that. But yeah, North America, here we come.
And we are very much rooting for you and your organization, ma'am. Thank you so much for sharing deep insights, valuable information with us and our audience today. With us, we had Anjali Desai, Vice President and Business Head of Zaggle. Ma'am, thank you so much for being part of our show.
It's been my pleasure, and I really hope that the listeners are able to get good value out of this
I'm
discussion.
sure.
So thank you so much for having me in this
Thank you so
podcast.
much.
Thank you.
And we would also like to thank our audience for staying with us till the very end. If you have any questions for the organization or Ms. Anjali, please feel free to leave those in the comments down below. We will make sure to get you your answers back from her. If you have any other recommendations of the brilliant entrepreneurs, the amazing organizations in the fintech landscape that you would like to have on the show, also leave those recommendations in the comments down below. We will make sure to have them with us on our next episode. With that, stay informed with us on the latest financial technologies. See you. Bye bye. Thank you.